Tell us about the way that the U.S. government has misused our money in Afghanistan and how it will continue to do that.
Well, folks may not know this, but it's $1 trillion at least we spent in Afghanistan, both on the military campaign, $837 billion, $145 billion in building the government and military organizations that collapsed over the course of a day or two. And, it's not like this has been a state secret. We've been monitoring reports by the Special Inspector General for Afghanistan, it's SIGTAR, and they've been issuing reports repeatedly that billions have been wasted, and everyone knew about it. Congress knew about it. The administrations knew about it. $335 million on an Afghan power plant that was seldom used. $18.5 million for a prison that remains unfinished. $8.5 billion on a counter-narcotics effort that resulted in a huge increase in opium and poppy production. And, of course, now Afghanistan, and I'm sure they will remain so, is one of the biggest suppliers of illicit opiate drugs. So this is what we've been doing for the last 20 years. And let me talk about something else in terms of our national security. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, everyone talks about the Taliban and the terrorists released from Gitmo. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the architect of 9/11, still is yet to face trial. We've had him for 17 years, and he hasn't faced trial despite his being the architect of 9/11. That's how effective our justice system has been, and obviously with the big bucks in Afghanistan, what that has led to. And, it's just typical government rot, government self-licking ice cream cone operations, whereas the Special Inspector General notes, that our reasons for being in Afghanistan changed over time. And there was always a new reason to justify the extent and the expense of our involvement. And we see the results now. It all collapsed. It was a deck of cards. And, we've had the issue of how did we get here? And I want to highlight the fact that just because we wasted all this money to date, it doesn't explain or justify or excuse what the Biden administration has done in surrendering to the Taliban in a way that has humiliated America like never before in our history. And I don't say that lightly.
Yeah, it is. It is really outrageous to watch it all going on. And you're right. I mean, I think people don't appreciate the extent to which there is public documentation on this, both secured by Judicial Watch and released by the Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction, just about the disaster here. And the government officials who were quoted in it, a lot of them who were quoted in this reporting didn't realize that their remarks would be made public. But what it all revealed, ultimately, Tom, right to your point, is that we had government officials who knew we were both wasting money and that we weren't making the progress that we were claiming to the American public that we were making. And they were telling the truth behind the scenes, behind closed doors, but not to the American people. And they routinely did that over the course of these last 2 decades. It's just a part of this ongoing, I know you've been covering it for some time, but this ongoing impact of the government giving us all sorts of reasons why we shouldn't trust them.
Yeah, and don't listen to us right wingers about the waste of money spent on the rights of women in Afghanistan. You have the Special Inspector General say we didn't know what we were doing. We were completely alien to the culture there. We had no idea. We had our law enforcement people. Their training was to look at TV shows about police procedure. So they were watching American police shows, and that was part of the training that people were expected to have as they were trying to insert our versions of law and order on Afghan society. What a nightmare. And, there's no excuse. I mean, we represent a heroic Marine who was railroaded by the establishment after he and his colleagues had to protect themselves in Afghanistan. And when you see what happened to him years ago for defending himself, and they tried to put him in jail, they tried to put his colleagues in jail, and they had to retreat completely. But for a time, it was the media, our government, the Taliban, and the Afghanistan government that we're really kind of pushing how our troops are being treated in Afghanistan. So you think it's bad now? Our troops have had to contend with an opposition, practically speaking, here at home that constrained them and treated them with contempt in terms of how much trust they put in our troops when they had to face life and death decisions. It's a stain on our history that won't ever be forgotten, nor should it be.
Yeah, well, the key to confronting that history is knowing its details. And Tom Fitton and your team at Judicial Watch always trying to get those details out of our government, as resistant as they are to giving them. Tom,
oh yeah, we got the FOIAs going out already, Vince. Don't worry.
Good, please, and we'll be here to hear what you find as soon as you got it. Judicialwatch.org is the website. Tom Fitton, the president over there. Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.